good Western is hard to come by. Most creatives use the Western setting as a cheap way to tell drama pieces and don't bother to change up the notoriously boring staples of the genre. There are always montages of people walking around the desert, random shots of animals drinking water, and at least one person is the most offensive, over-the-top racist you've ever seen. The films end up playing as generic drivel as audiences move further from this tired, trope-filled genre. Hello and welcome to my channel. Here I review new movies and television shows and try to release a new review every day from Monday to Friday. Today, I'm going over The Last Manhunt. It's based on a true story of the Last Manhunt in the Wild West. It was directed by Christian Camargo and written by Jason Momoa and Thomas Pa'a Sibet. It stars Martin Sensmeyer, Mainai Kinimaka, and Zahn McClarnon. It's a Western that starts out as a family drama set in the Wild West, but quickly devolves into an endless montage of different characters running and riding through the desert. There are a few shining moments from the cast and some nice scenic shots of the desert, but there isn't much else to wet your whistle. The story follows Willie Boy and Carlotta. The young couple living on the reserve has fallen in love and wants to run away together. Carlotta's father and chief of the tribe, William, forbids the two from being together and forces Carlotta to return home. When Willie and Carlotta try again to run away, William confronts them, and during the scuffle is killed by Willie Boy. The young couple takes off, and a posse of sheriffs go after them with the help of two local native trackers. The story is long, boring, and doesn't actually have much to say. It spends most of the screen time watching people travel, and the conversations between characters feel vapid and pointless. There are technically 3 storylines, but none of them has a satisfying conclusion. The film doesn't spend enough time with the sheriff to really understand what he's going through. Willie Boy and Carlotta only get montage screen time, and the revenge story with the tracker does not get resolved. This movie wastes so much time and could honestly have fit all of the story scenes into a 25-minute short film if it cut all of the travel time out. It never develops the relationship between Willie Boy and Carlotta, and the little time it does spend on the sheriff and the tracker isn't enough to flesh out their stories. Most of the characters are just generic, boring stereotypes, and the film introduces one after another while trying to make each of them important to the story. It's confusing and means that much more wasted time as they move between each one. The cast does what they can, but there isn't much for them to work with in terms of dialogue, and most of the film is wide shots of them traveling and talking to each other as they go. Zahn McClarnon stands out from the rest with his role as William Johnson, the tribe's chief. He's a serious man who seems to genuinely love his daughter. He's controlling, as he won't let her marry Willie Boy, and his reasoning isn't great. Fifth cousins are not going to produce some genetic aberration. He does great work with his expressions and body language, and he's easily the most interesting character in the film. Shoutouts go to Lily Gladstone, Brandon Oakes, and Christian Camargo for their decent performances as well. Each of them does a good job in their role, but isn't given enough screen time to make a lasting impression. Production quality is standard. It does some things well and others poorly. The camera work is smooth, and there's some nice scenic shots of the desert here and there, but there's no excitement. The lighting is pretty bad during the night scenes, with the shadows hiding the actors' performances. The soundtrack is made up of Western boilerplate tracks that are mostly used to back the walking montages. It's all forgettable and boring. The songs fit well with the atmosphere of the film, but don't make the scenes any more tolerable. The Last Manhunt is a slow and uneventful trip into the desert. The production quality is standard with a few mistakes here and there, and the cast seems to be trying, even if there's nothing for them to do, but the story is long and boring. The main characters never get fleshed out, and the most memorable character dies early into the film. Go watch Young Guns or something. It's way better than this. 4 out of 10.